In the world of golf, there are some truly spectacular golf courses across America. A few that come to mind are, of course, Augusta National, Shinnecock Hills, Oakmont. But there's one that tends to get way less press, but at the same time, so much praise, it's incredible. Cypress Point Golf Club in Pebble Beach, California. Now, of course, there are several amazing public golf courses on that plot of land, the most famous, of course, being Pebble Beach itself. There's also Spyglass Hill, the links at Spanish Bay, and Poppy Hills. But Cypress Point is truly etched in history as this mythical golf course that's right there offering some unparalleled golf, but of course, out of reach of nearly every American. And as a person that watches a lot of golf, I watched the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. This year, of course, it's at Pebble Beach and Spyglass Hill, and it was an amazing tournament. If you didn't see it, well, spoiler alert, Rory McIlroy won, beating his good friend and fellow Irishman, Shane Lowry. It was an incredible tournament. Lots of people were in it. So it was really fun to watch. There were some super tough conditions with rain and insane wind. But what I heard at one point was that Rory had played Cypress Point. I'm pretty sure he mentioned that it was the first time he'd ever played Cypress Point. And it just got me thinking, this is a rotation tournament, meaning, they play at several courses on that Pebble Beach plot of land, not just the ones, not Spyglass and Pebble. They've played other ones as well. And I wondered why Cypress Point, this course that's always in the top three of the Golf Digest's list of best courses in the world, why don't they play there? So I went online and did some research. And it turns out they did. From 1947 through 1990, they played at Cypress Point. Viewers got to see one of the most spectacular courses in the world every year. And it's actually really hard to find footage. I couldn't find any footage from the tour playing there from, at any point. So it's pretty crazy that, one of the most beautiful courses in the world doesn't have much footage other than what you're seeing here, which is from Golf Digest. Jim Nantz narrates the entire 18 holes, which is really awesome. And then also just some lucky folks that played it and took some footage. So anyways, the controversy. How is this controversial? How is this little golf club of only up to 300 members or so? Why is it so controversial? Well, in 1990, a private golf club in Alabama named Shoal Creek was set to host the PGA Championship for its second time. But one of the founders of the club, a guy named Hall Thompson, who had some business, I think it was tractors or something like that, was asked about their lack of black members because the city council was going to contribute some sum of money, but then found out they didn't have any black members and kind of wanted to investigate that. So someone from the local press asked Hall Thompson, and he said, so I pulled some quotes from an old Golf Digest article. He said, and I quote, "That's just not done in Birmingham, Alabama. We have the right to associate or not to associate with whomever we choose. The country club is our home, and we pick and choose who we want." Okay. He said further, perhaps putting the nail in the coffin, "I think we've said we don't discriminate in every other area except the blacks." As you can imagine, outrage soon followed, and the PGA of America had a big problem. TV sponsors were threatening boycotts, civil rights groups were threatening to picket and protest, and it's actually pretty amazing how stubborn this guy, Hall Thompson, was on the issue. At the time, the person in charge of the PGA of America was this guy named Pat Riley. Not sure I'm pronouncing that right, and he is not the former head coach of the Lakers and Miami Heat. This guy, Pat Riley, was dead set on forcing a new policy of anti-discrimination, essentially. And he wanted Shoal Creek to admit a black member, which that's not that big an ask. Sure, there's plenty of distinguished, amazing black folks in the Birmingham, Alabama area that are very deserving of a membership and perhaps even want a membership at Shoal Creek. But Hall kept on refusing. So Riley was still dead set on enforcing that. I mean, there were clubs across the nation that were kind of coming in line with the PGA's stance on anti discrimination. And Pat Riley contacted Jack Nicklaus, who actually designed Shoal Creek for Hall back in the 70s. So he contacted Jack and asked him, would you please let us, if we need to, host the PGA Championship at Muirfield Village? And Jack said, of course you can. But apparently, Hall heard about it and called Jack. And within 30 minutes of the phone call, Jack called Pat back and said, oh, I'm sorry, I've had a change of heart. Who knows exactly what was in the conversation, but essentially said, it can't be at Muirfield Village. And apparently TPC Sawgrass was also a potential backup. But just 9 days before the PGA Championship was slated to begin, Shoal Creek relented and extended a membership to a black gentleman named Louis J. Willie. Now, this guy was a World War II veteran, an accomplished businessman. He headed up Booker T. Washington Insurance, which was apparently at the time Alabama's largest black-owned employer. So a very deserving person. And huzzah, the PGA of America wins the argument, and they get a black member at a formerly anti-black golf course. And as I said before, you kind of saw that across the PGA because PGA enforced this anti-discrimination stance where they wanted courses to, if they didn't admit a black member, to at least have some plan towards either abolishing any existing policies or admitting a black or minority member. I think specifically black. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. The details are a bit scant on that, or at least I didn't see any. So this takes us back to that little elite private club in Pebble Beach, California. How does this all involve this tiny 250 to 300 member golf course? Well, that no tolerance for discrimination obviously extended to Cypress Point, which was a member of the rotation for the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. And as these private courses around the country were coming in line with the no tolerance for discrimination policy PGA America was beginning to enforce, Cypress Point declined to change their policies and instead told the PGA Tour to kick rocks, get bent, whatever. You're not welcome back at Cypress Point any longer. And there you have it. The PGA of America said, fine. There was no tournament held at Cypress Point. They moved it to other courses. Pebble Beach, of course, is still like the mainstay, but now it was a rotation of like 4 other courses throughout the years, the ones on or near the Pebble Beach plot of land. And, SI, Sports Illustrated, actually did an article on this a few years later. I think it was in 1997. And, some people will say, oh, Cypress simply wanted to be fair to people that were on some waiting list, reportedly 7 years long, to become a member of this golf course. But, SI spoke with some members, and on the condition of anonymity, of course, none of these members are going to go on the record. I mean, it's got to be really tough to get membership at Cypress Point because there's so few members. Other exclusive, distinguished private courses tend to have more than 250 to 300 members. And So they said that the wait list was really based more on the preferences of the board of directors than any chronological order. So basically, did the members or the board want you to become a member? Well, then you'd become a member. And if they didn't, well, you were on this waiting list that you would be on, in perpetuity. And someone from Cypress Point also said, oh, the PGA Tour never told us that we could have any flexibility in the timeline of this policy. They just didn't want to admit any member, whether it's a black or otherwise, um, immediately without going through that long process and being fair to the seven, blah blah blah. Is that true? Who knows? Uh, and others also say that, some of the old line members at Cypress Point were just tired of hosting the event. Perhaps giving up the course for an entire week was too big an ask for these high powered executives that paid good money to be members there. I don't know. But either way, that's the story behind Cypress Point. In 1990, at a time when racial tensions were high and it reached a melting point in the PGA and golf world, and other courses began, even Augusta National began to relent on these policies. And might I add that Augusta National had no actual reason to adhere to these policies, but they decided to. Now, to what extent, I don't know, who knows, but they did decide to adhere. Why didn't they have to adhere to these policies? Augusta National's tournament is not part of the PGA Tour. It is hosted and owned entirely by Augusta National. So that's why they can do whatever they want. Obviously, there was that more recent controversy with them not wanting to admit any female members. And I think that in 2012, they finally relented and admitted some female members. Anyways, that's it. That's the controversy here with Cypress Point. And, it's not entirely clear if they've even changed the policy. There are some references to Condoleezza Rice being a member there, and who was the first female member at Augusta, along with some other woman. So it's pretty funny. She just is always the one that they let in. Now, it's referenced that she is a member, but I didn't find anything where she confirms that she's a member or Cypress Point confirms that she's a member. So, what's changed? I don't know. But I think it's pretty telling that the tour has not gone back there. That was 35 years ago, and still no tournament at Cypress Point. Maybe the members just don't want us back. Who knows? I know that I would love to see this golf course. I mean, you're seeing the flyover of the entire thing. It's absolutely spectacular. That 16th hole looks freaking amazing. And I really, really, really hope that in California, of all places, these guys have changed their tune and admitted, people of all backgrounds, ethnicities, races, genders, whatever, because everyone deserves a chance to become a member there. I wish we could all play there, but at least everyone deserves a chance to become a member if you've done the right things in life to become wealthy enough to, hobnob with the folks that are members there, what have you. Either way, I thought it was really fascinating history. I hope that you guys did as well. Can't wait to see you in the next video. For now, this is Adam signing off. I'll see you guys next time. Have a wonderful day.